Another thing that you need to consider is seam location. Like, let's say you have a room with a cathedral ceiling, right? Now, typically, let's say this is just an 8-foot high wall. A lot of times you put a top plate. This is a gable end wall. You have a top plate of your wall right there, and all your studs 16 inches on center going up through here. So then you've actually built a separate wall above this, right? So it's going to have another line of studs going up. Your natural instinct might be to start, when I hang a wall like this, I hang from the bottom up. In other words, I'll stack. So I'll start by putting a shim on the floor, like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch shim, because I don't want my drywall tight against the floor. I want to allow a little bit for settling. But if I start with a 4-foot piece of drywall, 4 foot high, my seam on my second piece is going to land right there in that double plate. The worst spot you could ever put it. It's going to show and it's going to crack, because there's going to be structural movement there, settling, and the carpenter didn't build this wall perfectly plumb with this other one. You know, whether that's the case or maybe these top plates are just out in and out a little bit. So I've got a ridge seam that's going to show. So I start with a 2-foot rip, then I put a 4-footer on there, then this next piece spans that whole tough intersection. I put quite a bit of drywall adhesive right through here. No fasteners. I do not put any fasteners into that plates, because that's going to shrink and they're going to pop. If I come there to tape it, I see there's a bunch of fasteners in there, I usually take them out, because they're going to show eventually. So it's just little things like that that I want the hangers to be aware of. Because isn't it kind of true, and this is the same thing with framing, I think. As a drywall contractor, I got into the business because I like fast-paced work. I like to get stuff done because it feels good, and it's a production-oriented job. And once you get good at it, you can really move along. You can make good money. But because of that, we tend to maybe want to get it done so quickly that maybe we're not doing everything right. So a lot of hangers, they won't do this. It's easier not to cut that rip. It's easier just to stack and have a seam in a bad location. And that's part of the problem. But also, I like to blame the framers a little bit, because that's also kind of a production type job. Framing a house is done pretty quickly. And the guys that frame it, they enjoy that. They enjoy moving fast and getting a lot of work done and getting the building up. So all the studs aren't perfectly flush. You know, all the headers might be in and out a little bit. So all those things have to be considered. So when I come in to do my drywall work, I look at it this way. I've kind of taken responsibility for that job. It's now mine. So if I haven't tried to address these issues ahead of time, I'm ultimately responsible for them. If this seam cracks and I'm the guy who hung it, I am responsible for that, because I put the seam in the wrong spot. You know, if there's anything I don't like about the framing, nowadays you can take a picture of everything, keep it in your files. If somebody says, you know, why did that crack in the stairway? You can show them a picture of it, and the framing was just horrendous through there, you know. Little things like that I try to keep track of. So there's more to doing drywall work than just showing up the day that you're there to start. You know, like I've shown a lot of cool things today. We've shown 3 different types of tape featuring the FiberFuse, which is a high-tech type of tape now, something that's really starting to catch on. A little while ago, I sprayed a level 5 finish on this wall using a Graco Mark 5 sprayer. I sprayed joint compound on that wall to achieve a high level of finish. So really, this has kind of evolved a lot from when I first started doing the GLC Live, I think around the year 2000, when I was just hanging and taping with, I didn't have a collated screw gun. I didn't use any mesh tape. I used one type of joint compound. I nailed on metal corner bead. Now we're using all tape on, aqua bead, all kinds of cool things that have been introduced to the drywall industry, which has really helped bring it up to my customers' expectations. Because that's what I talked about earlier when I was talking about taping. Like I'm doing a presentation tomorrow morning on the golden rules of drywall work, how to achieve a high level of finish. And the first slide is something like the taper can't fix it. And I have a picture of some poorly hung drywall. I should have a picture of a guy in an excavator digging the foundation. Because that's where it all starts, isn't it? I can blame, my brother's an excavator, so I can blame him. If he overdigs the footing, doesn't pack it properly, the house could settle, the corner cracks, and it's my fault. You know, everything is tied in together. It's really true. But all these cool products and methods that are going to really help us to achieve these higher finishes are really important now.